calendar. Okay. Let me think again. Screen. And I can share. Okay. All right, guys, let's get started. First off, I just wanted to sort of do a little bit of the orientation again, because I realized that there were probably several people who couldn't be at the last meeting last week, as well as go over the modules are all loaded in there now and go over a few more things, some tips for you guys to succeed in this class, and then of course answer any questions that you have at the end. So I was just going to share my screen with you real fast here. I better put my glasses back on. All right, so as most of you are well aware, this is the opening page. This is our home page on Canvas. And the format that I'm using in Canvas is that when you open the home page, the first thing you'll see are recent announcements. It will only show the last 3. So if you need to see an announcement older than that, you'll have to click on announcements itself. The Zoom invitations will always appear in the announcements, and it's a recurring meeting. So if you want to set your Zooms for that, if you have a paid account, you can. If you just have a free account, that's fine. Just click on here and you'll go to the meeting just like you did today. I think because of Zoom's increased in security, I am going to stop the waiting room. It was a habit since spring to put everyone in the waiting room and verify that students that I was letting in were actually my students. I think since I'm on a college account now, that won't be a problem. So I think I'm going to eliminate the waiting room before you come in. So I get it, that can sometimes be frustrating that you have to sit there a minute or two before I let you in if I'm already talking. So again, as I have the course set up, it's set up to the home page and it's set up to the modules. So if you are on either the home page or if you're on modules, each module has all of the items that are in it, usually that you have to complete before the lecture quiz, which is at the end of the module. Now, these first 3 modules, the welcome, Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, you'll notice the first lecture exam is here, and the date is incorrect because it's still from spring, or from fall rather. This first lecture quiz includes chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's going to appear at the bottom of the module. That is the end of gathering all the information that you need for that test. Now you'll notice that already in Module 3, though, it's populated with a note outline for Chapter 6 and 7, because usually we'll be lecturing or reading the material for the next exam sort of before we actually take this lecture quiz. So remember, the lecture quizzes are always going to be on Tuesdays, for example. So the Monday before the quiz, I'll be asking if you have questions for the quiz. If no one asks me any questions, then I'm going to move on to give you new information, just as if we were in a regular person-to-person or face-to-face course. After this first lecture exam, you'll notice that the number of chapters per quiz decreases significantly. The challenge is this beginning part, the chapters are short. There are a lot of housekeeping things for you to do, as you realize when you look in the welcome module, chapter 1. You have to learn how to use mastering for some of you. We need to get library cards. There's, the read that you've read the course information. There'll be people that'll be joining late, probably as late as this Wednesday. And so we want to I'm giving everyone a chance to sort of get oriented before we just dive in. Now, so for example, on Wednesday of this week, I'm going to be taking questions and giving you tips and a short lecture summary from chapters 2 and 3. And chapter 4, there's one item that you need. It's just a single page in your textbook that you have to memorize. Basically, it's functional groups of organic molecules. And then next Monday, we'll cover chapter 5. And then that exam will probably be scheduled not for this coming to next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. but you'll have all of that time to process and study materials 1 through 5, but I'll already be starting to talk about chapters 6 and 7. In this course, it's rather rigorous. We will cover approximately 25 to 28 chapters. So that it starts off a little slow, and then it's going to get much faster. And by the time we get to module 5 here, you'll see that, actually even module 4, it's 2 chapters. These are the lectures, marked video. There'll be skills assignments, those are in mastering. The videos again, and then homework for chapter 6 and chapter 7. Those are mastering activities. Skills activities are also in mastering, and then there'll be a lecture exam. It'll just be about chapter 6 and 7. Notice for module 5, it's going to be 3 chapters. This is a really intense one. I would say both modules 4 and 5 are very content heavy. Module 6 is a little lighter, just a couple chapters. Module 7, heavy again, so it's going to vary. And what is not listed yet are the laboratories. So as you guys realize, you're going to be getting a lab kit, and these modules had been set up in the fall when we received our lab kits later in the semester. So once we get those lab kits, which I believe is going to be after the 10th day, which should be February 6th, I think, then I'm going to start putting the lab kit exercises in. Notice they're bunched up here at the end. If you've had a chance to look through all the modules, you'll see that there's lots of labs would appear to be at the end of the semester. It's not going to remain that way. I'll be moving them into earlier modules as soon as students can access the lab kits and we can all get our lab kits. I would encourage you to click on the library link over here, and everybody needs to get their library card. We're going to be doing a library assignment. It's referred to as information literacy or the abstract assignment. And to do that, you're going to have a library card. So you saw that I clicked on the library link in the blue tab in the blue navigation bar. When I got to launch the library page, I clicked it, students library cards. If you have a library card from last semester, it'll be a renewal. Okay. If you are a new student, meaning this is your first semester and you don't have a library card, obviously click a new card. They will process these very quickly. You will receive them within 2 business days, and it will go to your CCC email. My understanding is you do need a new library card every semester. So you're going to have to get a library card in order to complete the information literacy assignment, which also does not pop up, I believe, until module further on, but I'm probably going to move it up a little bit. It shows up about module 5 or 6. And we'll talk about that assignment when we get there. But the first step is to get a library card. I'm going to publish this briefly and then I'm going to unpublish it. This will be the same. You'll see this here. It says library card and registration link. One of the librarians will hold, I believe she uses WebEx. She'll hold an information session for you and explain the assignment to you and how to use your library card remotely. And she only offers that at certain days and certain times. And when I get her list of days and times for this semester, I will make this link live for you. You must have a library card before you try to register for the session. I'll say that again. You must have a current library card before you register for the session. So that's part of the reason that I have not made this available for you to view right now, because I don't want you to try to register for something that you can't do until you get your library card. So again, get your library card, do that today or tomorrow, so that when I do post the sessions for the information literacy assignment, where she shows you how to use the databases, you'll be able to access it really quickly. Okay, this orientation video was from last Wednesday. I would encourage you to watch it. I'm going to post another one from today. Anytime that you see where it says video, I usually label them video. For example, this one's video, chapter 1, themes of biology. That's me lecturing chapter 1. Okay, I would suggest that you read chapter 1 first. I would suggest in this case, there's both a PowerPoint and I believe there's a note outline. See the paper clips? Paper clips are things for you to look at. So this chapter 1, this is the note outline for chapter 1. I would print it or open that screen at the same time. while I was watching my video of me giving the lecture, or I would have this available while I was reading the chapter so you could see what I was going to focus on. As I mentioned last time, there's no way I can ask you, this textbook is encyclopedic. There is no way that I can ask you every single item in this book. So we have to start learning how to limit and decide, either with my guidance, what is important, or you on your own deciding, oh, this seems like it's really important. We've talked about that twice. I should make extra notes about that. So this first chapter, I've included everything, right? I'm not a PowerPoint person. If we were in person, I would just be lecturing on the board and I would be using the PowerPoint slides as for our figures, but that's it. I don't put the notes on the PowerPoints. So there's going to be a note outline for you to follow along. There are note outlines for especially all the early chapters, because in Bio 1, part of the job that I'm supposed to be doing is helping you learn how to take a college level science class. So in the beginning, there is lots of support. There'll be PowerPoints, there'll be note outlines, there'll be very detailed lectures. And then for some chapters later, probably about by chapter 10, 11 or 12, actually for chapter 12, I'm going to say you make the note outline. And then I'm going to give the lecture and you can go through your note outline, cross off the things that I don't cover, and focus on the things that we did talk about in class. So part of Bio 1 is helping you learn how to take this huge, huge textbook. I actually have a printed copy, and condense it down to what you need to know for the test. The tests are going to be mostly multiple choice. There will be a few cases where, sorry for that glare, but I'm in a different spot today than my normal Zoom room. The exams or lecture quizzes will be mostly objective. Occasionally, like I'll ask you to turn in an assignment, like for the genetics problems lecture quiz, you will have to actually do the genetics problems on a piece of paper and then, or in a Word document, and then upload them, and I will be grading those by hand. Same with the lab reports, and you will be required to photograph yourself with some of your results and upload that as one of the pieces of the assignment. And then you will also be asked to either take a graded survey or a graded quiz that asks you the questions that I want you to know from the lab report section, or I'll ask you to upload images of or scans of the actual pieces of the lab booklet. All of the labs, there's a video, an introduction video that goes with them that I think I mentioned Professor Ramirez-Wright performed for us. So you can watch the video and then execute the labs, and students, the labs went fine last semester. So there's 7 of them. You'll be able to complete those. And again, like I said, I'm going to be stretching those out a little bit. Last semester, we had some issues with students getting their lab kits because we ordered them late, basically in July, and everybody was ordering them. So they weren't available until the very end of September, beginning of October. So this time they're already sitting at the bookstore. It's a matter of verifying registration, and then you guys are going to be able to go and pick them up. And they're also going to be free rather than $150. So that was also a limitation for some students who were having difficulty with getting the finances or getting their financial aid to cover those lab booklets. All right, let me go back here and see if there's anything else that I wanted to point out from the module. So the mastering homework, those have pretty firm due dates, and they will be marked late, and points will go down as with the days that you are late completing those assignments. The reading assignments, some students have already asked me, the reading assignments are just for you to read. You'll notice that at the end of the assignment, there is a box for you to click that says, I read this in my print textbook, or you can just mark it complete, okay? You're not going to ever have any grade for that. This assignment is not graded, okay? They are open all the time. They're open the whole semester, the reading assignments. The main purpose of the reading assignment is just to get you focused on what it is you have to read and which parts of the chapter you need to read. Someone also asked me, I apologize for that. Someone also asked, send an email regarding, sometimes there'll be sections that will not be highlighted. They'll be taken out. Those are because those are sections that I have removed from the reading assignment, because it's just like, I'm not even going to cover that. That will be rare. You'll never, I think once or twice will you really run into a difficulty if you've read the whole chapter and I've taken out like one of these sections. So my advice would be to, as I said before, I would read the chapter. I read the chapter first, actually, if I were you. And then I would print the note outline or open it. I would watch the lecture video, take notes on the outline or separately. Then I would look at the PowerPoints if you want the like a quick summary of all the images that I used for that particular chapter. And then I would do the homeworks, because the homeworks, I went through and picked out questions that are relevant to the types of questions mostly that I'm going to ask on the quizzes. So those homework assignments, like when on my end, when I open up the homework for chapter 1, for example, the Master in Biology assignments for chapter 1, there are probably 150 items, questions, reading questions, pre-test questions, questions from the test bank, activities, figure walkthroughs. There are probably about 150 of those. And I go through each chapter and I pick out the ones that I think are either going to help you with a difficult topic, something I kind of want you to review a lot because I'm going to test you on it, or sometimes there are test bank questions to help you practice, get ready for the test. So those homework assignments are really valuable. Once you complete them, you can go back into them anytime for review. But what I did want to show you also was that when you click on MyLab and Mastering, right, there are other things that are available. When you click on this orange bar that says open, there are what is called, let's see if I can find them. I think they're called these dynamic study modules. You can do those for practice. So I think when you, well, I'm sorry, I don't think they let me do a student view. So this is my view, so it's difficult for me. Study area. So if you go to your study area, here we are. Once you're in Mastering in Biology, there are all kinds of tools here for you, right? There's an active reading guide. It helps pause and think about things. And then when you click on like study by chapter, I'm trying to see if I can get all of the practice test, get ready for this chapter, the animations, and this is what I'm looking for. There are some, go back one more. I want to pick a particular chapter. It's not letting me. Yeah. So practice tests, figure walkthroughs, all of these things are going to help you. Vocabulary study tools, I think they make flashcards with you. And then if you choose, you can go through the dynamic study modules and they will help you. They're adaptive. So what they do is when you click on one of them, they will have you read, and then sharing, I'm getting lost here. They'll have you read a little bit and they'll ask you a question. And then if you get the question wrong, they'll direct you to where you need to go to help master that particular topic. So I would encourage you to use those as well. I would say you need to devote a significant amount of time to this class. As you can see, there's a lot to do and there's also a lot to study. The quizzes are timed. They are a single attempt. You get to open them once. Once you open them, you have to start the quiz. And it's about, I put about 45 to 50 seconds per question. So you do have to be prepared to take the quiz. This is not a course where you can just sit and look up the answers to the quiz questions. So you are going to have to prepare and study for it. It's a little difficult, a little different than maybe some of the online courses you've taken in the last couple of months, in that because it's a science class and because it's the foundation class for all the rest of the biology courses, we really need you to try to memorize and know a lot of this material. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time, or significant amount of time. I would advise you read the book, read the textbook, take the notes, watching the video. Then I would go back and read the chapter again, see which parts I kind of highlighted, and try to look for the connections between the sections. And then I would spend, a little bit of time every day studying the material from chapter 1. And then the next day adding on the material for chapter 2. And then the next day reviewing 1 and 2 and adding on the material for chapter 3. If you've taken chemistry in high school, if you've taken Chem 1, or you're in Chem 101 now, or Chem 111, the chemistry chapters 2 and 3 are going to be like, oh, I already know that. For those of you that haven't had chemistry in a while, those are going to require more study time. So there isn't a particular formula for all students. There's an individual formula for each one of you wherever you are. So that's kind of what I had for talking to you, sort of in general. And let me just check my list real fast. I think the only other thing that will be, there'll be a lab safety that I'm going to have to assign, and then you'll have to watch a lab safety video, or probably actually read lab safety form and then sign it, just like you're signing the course agreement form and putting that in. But not until closer to lab, till we're actually having lab. Do any of you have any questions that you want to ask? Go ahead and you can unmute yourself, Bridget.
I know that
Geek,
you already kind of tried to explain about the reading assignments. So it doesn't matter when we mark it complete.
No.
I mean, obviously I've been reading them as as we go and doing the homeworks and everything, so that I'm not piling up on work. But okay, so it doesn't matter when we mark them complete. It doesn't have to be like the one says due today or whatever. So I don't have to.
Right. So I put the due dates on them because for the one that's due today, so not for chapter 1, because it's just kind of a, hey, welcome to Bio 1, and I think you guys can do that one by yourself. It's pretty much all self-contained. For some of the more complicated chapters, for example, like when we get to cellular respiration, I am going to expect that you'll have questions this morning, right? So I'm going to make that reading assignment due today, like the Monday, because I'm expecting that you would have read it and started to get your things together and be like, wait a minute, I don't understand this. I can't finish the homework. So I need to ask her a question, right? So the due dates on those reading assignments are probably always going to be the Mondays and the Wednesdays, because it's to kind of help you stay on task and in the right spot, right, as we go along. So you can always read them ahead. You can always read them again. They're never going to show that you've read them. I can see that if you click that box, I can see that you've read them. But other than that, the mechanism of them is mostly just to make sure to help you gauge what you should be doing this week or for next week, kind of thing, right?
Okay, and then one more thing for the lab. I know that you were saying we have to go to the bookstore and pick it up. Do we have to do anything before we go to the bookstore to pick it up, or you'll just let us know when to go get it?
I don't know yet. This is different than last semester. So what I've been told so far is, I'm trying to block that window behind me. What I've been told so far is that after the bookstore gets a final version of the students registered for each of our sections, which happens on the 10th day. It just does. It's financial aid and a registrar thing, and as well as we report attendance. Once they get that finalized version of these are the 29 people registered for this section of Bio 1, I think they're going to send me an email to tell you to just go to the bookstore. And I think you're going to need your ID, and they're just going to check you off the list of the registered list. There are some students who are really remote. Like there's someone in Florida, there's someone who's in another state taking this class as a completely online class, and they're going to need to have the kit mailed to them. I don't know the specifics of that. I suspect you'll have to pay for the shipping. I'm not sure, and I don't know how long that's going to take, obviously, right? So Once the lab kits are available, I would just encourage you to just go to the bookstore and pick it up. That's going to be the easiest thing, right? It'll be all, with masks and safe and everything. But I think that'll be the fastest way that you're going to be able to get your lab kit. What I've been told is they've already shipped and they're sitting there. So there are lab kits for all 12 or however many sections of Bio 1 that we're running. And as soon as the registrations are validated, they're going to let students come pick them up. If those directions change, I'll post it in the announcements. I mostly communicate with you like dramatic things that are changing, like, hey, I'm sick, I can't do the Zoom today, or, test is getting moved, or, we need to cover extra material. Always look in the announcements. I'm not going to send them as separate emails. I'll just always post them in the announcements. So open your Canvas page every day and check and see if there's anything weird or new that I've posted, and then just get to work with whatever you were thinking you were going to accomplish that day in Bio 1, right? That's kind of like my best advice. And when I get the information about those lab kits, I'll probably post it everywhere, right? I'll probably post it as a document in the module and post it in the announcements, and we'll talk about it at the Zoom meeting to try to get everybody to get their lab kits. The videos of the Zoom meetings are always recorded, and I'll post them, like I said, I think last night, either later today or tomorrow. But most of the lectures are finished because I've completed them in the summer session or in the fall. So most of the lectures are already in there, the video lectures. It's just mostly the question and answers for your particular questions that we'll be doing on live like this. But come, always, ask me questions, always. That's what I'm for, right? You don't have to learn the whole thing on your own. Anything else? Yes, no, maybe so. All right then. If not, then hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and bring any questions you have from, chapters 1, 2, 3, I would say, because Wednesday, I would expect that people have read 2 and 3 and taken a look at the chemistry chapter, the water chapter, started to do those homeworks. As next week, I'm planning on spending most of next week on chapter 5, because it's probably the biggest material wise. The due dates on the assignments are going to start to switch a little bit. I did just move them over in bulk, and I asked the program to modify all the dates based on the first date, and they're timed to about when we did them last semester. So as we go through each module, you'll notice the dates are going to switch as I go, oh, wait a minute, we can do that for Wednesday. I'll try to stay at least a module ahead of you, but those due dates and of course the lecture quiz dates will start to appear and be correct for this semester. Right now, they're just still all from last semester. So soon, in the next couple of weeks, those will change. Yes.
It's a question for the first homework. We have to upload the PDF file for with the signature. I'm not the computer person, but somehow I kind of figure out to make that to the PDF. But there's only do you know how I can combine 2 files and upload as a one?
You don't have to turn in the whole document. Just if you click on the actual assignment, just click on the signature page. So you don't have to do it twice. And you can, I believe, I'll put it up in the announcements. And usually what I do is I'm not the technical superstar either. So I usually ask if other students can help you, because usually other students have already done it. They know, they're like, oh, do this, click, 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 right? So you could submit it as a photo as well. Just use a JPEG, because I left the submissions pretty open for that. So if you just save it as a JPEG, you can submit it as a photo as well. The only one I usually have trouble with is if you have an HEIC, which is people with iPhones and MacBooks, that they take the photos with those. Just be sure you save it as a JPEG rather than the HEIC file, because I can't open those on my computer because I don't have Apple stuff. So either way, it's not meant to be it doesn't have to be a PDF. You could just submit the Word document, right? The advantage with the PDF is that no one can alter it then, but you know, who's going to alter your signature? So just as however you can get it up there, great. I just don't want it as an attachment to an email, because then I have to open it. Then it shows up in my Canvas email, my college email, and I have to open it, download it to my computer before I can see it. And I'd just rather not do that for 150 people, right? So just however you can do it is fine. And there's no late, that one isn't marked late if you don't do it by whatever the due date is. The due date is just to get people to get it done, right? So I should have stopped the recording before I said that, because now no one will turn it in. But yeah, however you can get that done, just try to get it done. And you can, I think there are open lab times, open computer lab times, both in Blackwood and in Camden, if you actually need like to get to a printer or need to copy something or need to use a college computer for something. I don't know when they are, but they're probably listed somewhere. All right, any other questions, concerns, worries? No, yes, no, maybe so. All right, then I will see you on Wednesday and we can talk a little bit about chapters 2 and 3. I'll try to, on Wednesday, I will share my screen with you and we'll hit the highlights probably via PowerPoint, some of the images of, you know, stuff that's in the note outline. So we'll go through it. And again, I'll ask if anybody has any questions and then we'll just keep going till the end. All right. All right. Hope to see you guys on Wednesday. Recording.